Greetings and salutations, everyone. This is the Double Stuff Podcast, where we're double the topics, double the host, and double the fun. I'm Dan.
I'm Sarah.
I'm Charity.
I'm Ellen.
Alan's all zen today.
We're going to go ahead and pull a couple topics out of the hopper. And the first one here is when you become famous. This is from episode 98, Sweet Tea Mob Boss, which you may have remembered the flashback previously. So go ahead and we'll take a listen now.
Do you guys want to become famous? Because I think we should answer that question first.
Yeah.
No.
Even as a famous podcaster of this groundbreaking series that we're going to be in.
Sure, I guess if that happens, but no, I'm not looking forward to it. Hopefully it wouldn't alter my life.
The thing that would kind of turn me away from wanting to be famous is the lack of privacy and just like, negative reviews, negative comments. You see the paparazzi show this horrible picture of you and you could have been sneezing. So obviously your face is like, but they get a picture of you and it's like, what's Charity angry about?
Honestly, a lot of the reasons why I would like to become famous, I guess, is like what everybody else wants. It would be nice to be more financially stable. I look forward to being in a situation where people have to listen to what I say. I know that sounds like a jerk thing to say, like, you have no choice but to listen.
We're doing that right now.
Yeah, see, it's already starting to work.
What you said before that actually makes sense of, wanting to be in control of stuff and people listening to your ideas. Because if I was like, hey, I want to make a movie about such and such, people would be like, whatever. But like if George Clooney walked through the door, it's like, hey, I want to make a movie about this. And it's like, the same idea I had.
Let's do it
there
right
would be
now.
no question. They'd be like, yes, let's do the things. So, people do listen to you and they will, do what you say because you are who you are.
I personally do think very soon we'll be in a situation, all four of us at the Double Stuff Podcast will be in a situation where we'll have a larger following and may have a little bit of clout to do things. And so I'm not saying that, now we're going to be like, like the Beatles and that, whenever we try to get in the car, we're going to have people screaming like, oh, Alan, I want your autograph. Oh, Sarah, you're the best one ever. And
Beat it.
Charity.
So it sounds like there's a mixed opinion here on the importance of fame, and I'm just going to come out on the no thank you side.
Yeah.
to being
No thank
famous.
you.
So
It's boys against girls.
I've evolved my opinion on that. I probably used to want to be when I was younger,
sure.
but
Yeah, everybody
nowadays
wants
I just I'd like to do something that maybe outlives me. In terms of like artist stuff, but
Like a monument or something?
yeah, or just like make something that like is known. But
organization?
I don't want to be famous for anything.
Okay.
No, I like my privacy too much.
Maybe it's a difference of, is there a difference of like being famous and then simply being well known?
Maybe.
Is
okay.
there a difference in those two?
Well, I don't know how
mean,
you
I
separate
guess-
the two.
I don't know. I guess it's just a
you kinda-
connotation of the word. Like famous
Yeah.
is like all the stuff that you don't want, like the lack of privacy and all
Yeah.
that. There's some people that are probably just well known, but you don't really know too much about their private life. Like, oh, this guy is the director, or this guy, made 6 award-winning movies. But if you're going to be like, oh, what does his bathrobe look like? Like the paparazzi's not chasing after
Sure.
him.
Oh.
So,
So
maybe
he's well
it's
known
like
for something, but he doesn't have all that fame and annoyance of.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's like one of those
Right.
things where if you have the paparazzi following you around versus you see somebody at like a restaurant, and you're like, I think I know who that is.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did that the other night. I was at a concert in Hutchinson with the Blues Travelers came through.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I had a lovely time with my brother, sister-in-law, and wife. The 4 of us, we just had a night of it. It was a lot of fun. And there was a guy that was at the theater that I knew, and I knew he had come through Channel 8. And then he was sitting right in front of me, and I was like, I gotta just ask, And so I was like, excuse me, are you a politician? And he said, yes, I am. And I was like, I thought so. And he goes, I'm the governor of Kansas. And I was like, okay, get out of here. All right. I get the point. I kind of overstepped my boundaries there. And he was like, I'm just curious, how do you know me? And I was like, well, I work for Channel 8 and we have a lot of legislators and just a lot of people come through, and I've seen you there. And he goes, I have been to Channel 8 before. I was like, okay, I thought so. And I won't out him as far as who he was, but yeah, but
Governor Smitherton.
Yeah, so in that case, I guess that would be like he's well known but not famous.
But not
Okay.
famous, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of put that in the category of like artists. artists can be well known. I mean, some can be famous, but like even if you, and I guess I'm looking maybe like pop culture from like at least the past 100 years or so. Like you might have some people that are well known, like you might have like your Picassos or people like that. But it's not like Elvis famous, where you like what Cherry was saying, where it's like people are recording your every move. It's like they're really into your art and you become famous for that, but it's not
I think I know what you're talking about. You're saying that there's in the realm of famous, there's a spectrum, and the famous that you're talking about is no privacy famous, as opposed to on the other end of the spectrum, people know of that person but aren't super interested in knowing their day-to-day lives. Right. Is that what you're talking about?
We're talking about music, so like a lot of people know Elvis Presley, but like, can you list his backup band and so like even during that time while they were performing, everybody probably knew who they were, but everybody was after Elvis, so yeah. That
reminds me of there's a funny video of Eminem's band called D12, and it's all about that how everybody knows Eminem, but he's got a band and they're D12 and nobody knows who they are.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
That's like you could probably name a lot of like famous front people in like bands, but not a lot of bass players.
I was gonna say nobody knows the bass player.
Okay. Yeah.
I would say, as someone who's worked a lot of concerts and camera work and stuff, I don't know if it's all bass players, but they seem to like not stand where they're supposed to, like in the light. So like you got your
yes, we do. We do not stand where we're supposed
well, like, every time I ever
nobody's
got
gonna notice.
Any bass player, they were always like the silhouette
in the
like,
shadows.
It's like, I think
as a former bass player, that is correct.
Yeah. Except for that one time in the set when the front man will go around and introduce like everybody that's in the band. The one time.
The one part I got really, really noticed because I was terrible at playing bass. And I still am. I still have a bass. I'm not very good at it. But I got pulled into playing in a band because they needed a bass player, and my uncle had a bass that I could borrow. And basically the guy, my friend, he just taught me all of what I was supposed to play for each of the songs.
Yeah.
And then we'd go out and we'd play. That's great. I can do that. And then when someone in the audience wants us to play Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana, I'm like, I don't know how to play that.
Yeah.
We didn't go over that.
Or something like Red Hot Chili Peppers where Flea plays it like a lead guitar.
I would just unplug and just walk away. That was the case.
I cannot play like Flea.
No way. No. So yeah, that would be a difference.
So you don't take requests is what you were saying.
No, I don't take requests. No, not at all.
Beat it, kid.
That's right.
Well, kind of like what I was saying, I actually said this in the flashback, was like, I feel like, and maybe even more so than when we recorded this, it's been almost 2 years now since we did that, but we are starting to get a little bit, at least I will say me and Charity, in terms of the podcast, people are starting to notice us.
Oh, wow.
Okay, there have been people, we don't know who they are, but they recognize our voices.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm kind of a big deal.
You know me. You're like, you probably know my award-winning voice from the Double Stuff podcast.
I think the one lady, I think she recognized our laugh. Like, she heard us laugh.
It is very
Harmons have a very distinct, like, belly laugh that, we can pick out each other in a crowd. And so someone heard our laugh, and they're like, this is going to be a weird question. But
so I mean, it's kind of cool though that you're being noticed for your voice. It is a very distinct. And for the longest time, I always thought I had a terrible voice.
There, you just mentioned something that's kind of perfect. Famous versus like well known, right? Voice actors.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, I can hear a lot of voice actors, and I'm like, oh, I know who that person is, but like
you don't know what they look like.
Well, no, and I might, because I'm really big into voice acting. I like voice actors. I've watched like documentaries and stuff on. But like Sally, she's like, okay. And I'm just like, oh, he was the person that did the voice in the one thing. And it's like, oh, yeah, okay. I know that person now. Because you mentioned that, but I would have zero idea. But, if you ran into somebody on the street, like a Nolan North or Phil Lamar or Michael Richardson or something like that, it'd be like, you probably wouldn't even recognize who they are for most people.
Yeah, I think the same thing because there was a guy that we met. Apparently, he does puppets for Sesame Street.
Yeah.
But no one knows what he looks like, because it's not like we look at the puppet but not the person. So he's able to kind of go in and out without anyone noticing. But like he does a lot of the voices for Sesame Street, and
I'd love to be that famous, like that kind of famous. That would be great.
Like Sesame Street puppet famous.
Like
Honestly,
get good work in something you like to do, but nobody bothers you. Perfect.
But I feel like with our podcast, because we are starting to kind of build up, and we've done 150 plus now. I am hoping, especially now that we've entered the triple digits, that people will start to see us, and we can be guests on other podcasts and stuff like that. So I'm not saying that red carpet and people fawning at our feet.
Oh, I definitely want the red carpet.
I'm 100% expecting
can
red
have it.
carpet. but like I said, because me and Charity, we are wanting to do more stuff. At least we've had opportunities to present stuff and judge things and actually be on stage and talk and stuff. So we actually kind of enjoy that, at least at the level that we're at now.
Sure.
So I know that's, for us, I think it's inevitable for that to happen. But at the same time,
But we'll remember all the little people like you
yeah,
and Dan.
like you
Okay.
guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll add you to our acceptance
Peasants
speech.
in the crowd. Oh, those two guys. We used to
you.
record a podcast.
Yeah,
with them.
their names are
Allison and Danielle.
yeah.
Great.
Exactly what it is. So.
Yeah.
So I guess it's my turn.
Yeah,
huh?
Sarah, why don't you go ahead and lead us into what our second topic is?
All right, I'm just gonna pick because I have so many to choose from. All right, let's see. This next topic is soda and root beer floats, which will be kind of fun. This one was kind of a double reference. So this one was based off of episode 138, A Sisterly Conversation 2, and then we kind of revisited a little bit on episode 139, Blinged Out Life Alert.
Okay.
So let's listen to that combo right now.
All right.
I can't stand Coke. I think it's probably the most disgusting of sodas.
I think Dr. Pepper was kind of.
I'd rather drink Dr. Pepper over Coke.
I still do like root beer.
Okay, so root beer float, A&W or Barks.
Now, both A&W and IBC root beer and Barks, they've been
Oh,
around
I forgot about IBC.
They've all been around for a long, long time, probably over a century for all of them. So A&W root beer, I think, was the very first one I drank when I was like really, really little. And I thought A&W had a really good taste to it. I think that's a really good root beer for making floats. And then when I got older, I had tried Barks root beer. And I think Barks is a good root beer to just drink on its own. Not that it's not bad for a float. I think I've had it as that before, but I just kind of prefer drinking that one as is. And I think IBC is a good either or. But admittedly, I'm not a connoisseur of root beer.
I taste the earth tone.
I know.
Is that a hint of vanilla?
He's like, I'm wafting like, oh, I can smell the root, but where's the beer?
Growing up, I really liked Mr. Pibb, and Mr. Pibb was delicious with a slice of pizza. I've always been a Coke fan, and the girls know that. I mean, I'm pretty easy to please. So for Christmas, birthdays, just get Dad some Diet Dr. Pepper and some Reese's peanut butter cups, and you'll be okay.
Oh, that's lovely. I think that's a dad thing. It's like, just get me something good,
something
to eat
edible,
and something
Yeah.
good to
some
drink.
socks and a pair of underwear, and I
Leave me
am
alone
perfect.
to watch the game. We're good. Happy birthday to me.
All right, a very heavily carbonated flashback there.
Burp.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
The bubbles tickling your nose. So Dan, I know you weren't present for either of those episodes, so we'll start with you. Do you have a favorite soda of some sort, or used to have? Or
Libation.
Oh man, not. I don't know about a favorite. Probably something simple like a Sprite, maybe, or maybe that's what I
Okay.
like now.
I
My
said the
problem
same
is
thing.
I
Wrong with
haven't
that.
drank soda or pop, depending on where you're from,
Yeah.
in such a long time, and then. Well, like we haven't had it in the house. Like we've kind of made like a very.
Well, what's sitting in front of you right now?
Well,
That
this is an orange
giant
soda.
Sonic.
Oh, it's a
sugar.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Oh, okay. There's a difference.
So,
Get it right,
but
Alan.
this is what I was getting to. So this is my problem. So the other day we bought some Sprite to mix with, like for drinks or whatever.
Oh.
And my problem is that if there's soda in the house,
Yes.
I'll drink it,
Yes.
and then I fall down a rabbit hole,
I see.
and then it gets to be a real problem, and
You
then
get
I
your
have to go
sweet
back
tooth.
to like nothing but water for like a month in order to reset again. So yeah, that's. But
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
because
Coke.
usually you're a like an Arizona tea
Yeah, I
kind of
usually
a guy.
drink tea.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. So, and it's almost strictly like water at home. So,
Yeah.
not a lot of soda anymore. But like I said, Sprite, Coke, mostly like Coke products. No Pepsi.
Every once in a while, if you've abstained from soda for a while and you take that first hit of Coke, man, it's an eye opener.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It burns your throat.
It
And
really
And it
does.
makes you burp.
It's
That
not
first sip
enjoyable.
of Coke always
Yeah.
makes me burp.
Yeah.
I mean, there is. I feel like Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's my adult palate. Does soda now have more bubbles than before? I don't know. It almost feels like when I go to restaurants or something and I do get like a Sprite, I feel like it's more carbonated now.
Well,
I think-
if you're at a restaurant, you might want to say, "Hey, you're running out of syrup" or something like that. If
Right.
that happens, like if you're just
is
tasting
that like your-
carbonation,
Well, I guess I'm just talking about it just seems to be like extra bubbly. I know that's not the.
Don't restaurants or certain fast food restaurants have like a special mix of a certain soda? So like, because I've heard, I don't know if it's true, like a McDonald's Sprite tastes different than like
Yes.
just a can of Sprite.
So,
if
yeah,
you go
sodas from fast food restaurants were like 800 times sweeter.
yeah, like they have a different
I don't
mix or
I don't
something.
know.
Yeah, it's much
That's
sweeter.
news to me.
Yeah, restaurant and like fast food.
I
yeah,
do
it's
know
purposefully
that,
sweeter than stuff like at the stores.
Like you happen to be drinking the soda that you were referring to out of a styrofoam cup.
Yeah.
It does feel like it has a different taste in whatever it's being contained in.
Right.
You know, being an aluminum can,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
a glass, a glass,
Yeah.
or
Or like a
you know,
mug or
a
something.
or a styrofoam.
Yeah, it's
cup
probably
or
all those
something.
chemicals, the styrofoam
Well,
chemicals.
that's
leaking
it.
in there,
Yeah,
so-
and that the Coke's
Styrofoam
eating away
Just eating away at it. Exactly.
while it's
So,
being contained.
I do wonder with stuff like that, if you have like a can of soda, right? How
Yeah.
long has that been bottled and like sitting there, wherever it
Oh,
is, and like
gosh.
getting some of that aluminum that you were talking about, stuff
Yeah.
like that, versus a dispenser like at a fast food restaurant or at a movie theater or something, where it's the sugar or it's the syrup and the carbonated
carbonated
mix
water, yeah.
that's like happening kind of right when you're pouring it,
I
or
don't know.
right
Yeah,
around there.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Because and I think that's where most places are going. It seems like wherever I go, to the movie theaters, to fast food restaurants or something, and instead of having like a soda fountain like they used to, or dispensers like they used to, it seems to be it's one dispenser, but it's being
Yes.
mixed. It's,
Yes,
Where
yeah.
you have like the touch screen,
Yeah,
and
the
you, like,
touch
pick
screen.
different things.
Uh-huh.
It's so weird.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Well, and I always wonder because even on a basic level, because if you do want to get water from a restaurant or whatever, usually it's in the same section as the lemonade, which I don't understand that. And then your water
Lemonade
tastes
or
like
Sprite sometimes.
yeah. So I always kind of wonder, and I'm actually still kind of new to using those like kiosk things. Like, because there are times like I'm always curious, like, if I got water from the kiosk and then I immediately get like orange soda or then I get another drink, like, can you taste the residue
aftermath.
from the other? But I don't
man.
Yeah.
always do, but maybe it just depends on
I don't know.
on how it's
I think
built.
sometimes,
Or
like,
something.
if you get water and sometimes they have like a lemonade or like a pink lemonade or whatever, and you go to
Yeah.
get water and it's like kind of pink color
Yeah,
because it's
I've
got
seen
some
that.
of that
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
left over, but you don't
Yeah.
get the flavor.
No, you just get
Diluted.
a suspiciously colorful water without any things to it. But yeah, it was funny because you had mentioned that you typically go for Sprite, and then in the episode, Cherry actually teased me because she was like, "That doesn't count because they drink that in hospitals."
Yeah.
Sprite and ginger ale, or like after you
Ginger
donate
ale.
blood,
Yeah.
you can get one of those. Yeah.
So like I guess I have a boring medicinal preference. Like I like Sprite when I'm not having a blood transfusion.
I like it on
Yeah.
airplanes. I always
Yeah.
drink Sprite on an
Yeah.
airplane.
I typically
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
that on airplanes. Yeah.
Do you know what I loved growing up is we had a little like hardware store just down the block from where my dad's business was. So when I worked there, we'd go and get a soda and a Surge.
Oh yeah, I remember Surge.
So good. It's like the pre-energy drink.
Uh-huh.
So terrible.
Man,
I feel like if they
Yeah.
brought that back, it would be like that episode of Futurama with Slurm. That's what I think of every single time.
I still
Yeah.
want Surge to be like somehow connected with the Wind Surge here in Wichita.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that'd
That
be
was my first
appropriate.
because when they're like, "Oh, we're gonna be called the Surge," I was like, "Okay, if you're gonna do that, bring that soda."
Bring that soda to
Yeah,
Wichita.
on it.
the Wind
There
Surge
are,
games.
yeah,
Yeah.
there are some of those like still holding on to the nostalgic aspect of it. Like every once in a while, I mean, you could still get Frescas.
Yep.
You can still
Oh,
get
yeah.
Squirts, and those
Squirt
are
was the other one.
Squirt.
those
Right.
are violently like acidic or something.
yeah.
I don't know what's going on with the Squirt, but yeah, you don't. I can only get it in a 12-liter bottle, but after like 2 or 3 drinks of Squirt, I replenish and nourish my nostalgic, want of desire
okay,
of that, and then I'm like, what am I going to do with the
Like,
rest of
I've
this
had
bottle?
enough of that.
Yeah, this is going straight
This will
into
last me
Lake
another
Cheney.
2 years.
Give it to the dogs.
That's
see if she'll
right.
drink it.
Oh, no. She's gonna
Takes
it's
2
his
sniffs
rocket
and walk
fuel.
away.
Speaking of do your kids like soda?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I think soda's very kid-like. Anyway.
I think so too. But I have a friend of mine who has kids, and they don't drink soda at all. They just don't.
That
like
is
it.
not my children at all. It's
don't allow it
it's
in the
kind of like
house.
what you were talking about, which is if it's in the fridge on Friday. we bought a whole refrigerator sleeve. What is that, like 18 cans?
Something like that.
The ones that
Sprite.
you break open, you can like just
Yeah.
pull one out each
Yeah,
one.
I checked this morning. There's 2 left.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And by the time
So,
you get home today,
yeah.
it's going to be none.
there's
Yeah.
gonna be none.
Just an empty
Yeah,
box in the trash.
If it's in the house,
if it's in
gone.
the house, it's gone.
Now, I know this isn't the same as soda, but I kind of do this to get my carbonation, or at least the bubbly fix. It's like a lot of sparkling waters now. A lot of them are flavored, you know? So I feel like that's kind of a compromise, I
Yeah.
guess.
Polar Ice is the best.
Polarized.
There's Polar Ice, LaCroix, Bubbly. What's the other one? There's like 4 big ones.
I don't know.
I've
It's
never
all
had a
garbage
LaCroix
to
that I've
me.
actually
I was
liked.
thinking about
Yeah.
Perrier, but that's a different
Well, yeah, there's that too. I
I
Polar Ice is the best.
I'm
There's
not
no
a
bubbles.
bubbly water guy,
I'm
club
not
soda
either.
guy at
Yeah.
all. Tonic.
I mean, I don't use it to quench my thirst because that doesn't quench your thirst, but it's just kind of fun to drink if you just want to get
that's
something.
my special treat at lunch. I'll put
Really?
a little,
That's
a
a
little
treat?
Sparky.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't drink soda. I stopped drinking soda for the most part after high school. So yeah, soda's not.
You're
really
supposed to
enjoyable.
replace a bad habit with a good habit, not another.
I mean, it's water with bubbles, I guess. Well, anyway, that was an interesting
Yeah.
side thing. But
I don't mean to take away.
Yeah.
Jeez, Alan, hurt
Drink,
my feelings.
drink your bubble water all you want.
Don't bubble water
Alone.
shame her.
But real quick before we get to the end, we were also talking about root beer floats. Do you guys like root beer at all, or
Sure.
root beer floats?
Yeah.
Too much.
Too much of a
Too
good thing.
much. So
And summer's coming up, so
The-
that's like a good summer treat.
this
Yeah.
body's like a third root beer float, probably.
It's just
Yeah.
a mug with a hat. That's
Yeah,
basically Dan.
exactly. So, yeah.
Well, I don't know. Like I said, I don't drink a lot of soda, but every once in a while I have a taste for root beer. But at most restaurants, I feel like they mainly just have like Barks root beer. But I kind of like the A&W. Like
A&W's good.
A&W's good. I think it was one of the originals.
I
It's been
think
around.
Barks is a little bit sweeter.
Maybe it is. In the flashback that I was, like I said, I'm not a connoisseur by any means, but I had mentioned that I think A&W is good for a float. IBC
Yeah.
is good Barks is good as is, and IBC can be an either or.
Yeah.
In my
IBC,
opinion.
yeah, I remember
There were
those.
some craft breweries in California that had gotten into root beers.
Oh yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I had a neighbor that really liked. There were 2 brands. One was called Not Your Father's Root Beer,
Mm-hmm.
and the other one was called Coney Island. And
Probably had more beer than root, didn't it?
no, it is suspiciously delicious root beer. I mean, I was telling him, I'm like, man, you got to be careful with these things, like leaving them around, because a kid wouldn't know.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And would down a whole bottle.
Uh-huh.
You know,
Oh, okay.
they were suspiciously exactly like root beer. Yeah,
Oh,
but
okay.
like with 5% alcohol.
So it's like hard root beer.
Like
It's
hard root
it's
beer,
a
yeah.
hard root beer, yeah. And there's been kind of like a boon to that too. There's been hard sodas. Now it's hard seltzers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And things
Yep.
like that.
People sure like their alcohol, don't they? Like
Well-
they can't just
Hard
they can't
cider.
just-
Hard cider. Well, that's
Yeah.
been around.
But there's
forever.
like a bar here now that like does hard cider that you
Is
can
there?
get like on tap. It's called White Crow,
Okay.
and
Oh.
it's downtown. It's like south of Douglas.
It must be is it one of the newer ones?
It's fairly new. I think it's been around for maybe 6 months or more.
Yeah, maybe
Um,
that's why I haven't.
but it's really good.
Well, I'm not a cider guy. I don't like it sweet.
I don't. You know what? I like sour beers.
Yeah.
So I went there and I drank their sours, and I really like those. I don't like
Okay.
some of them because some of them don't just taste good at all. But
Yeah.
the sour stuff tastes really good.
Okay.
Actually, before we go, I was going to ask you guys have ever drank Jones soda? It
Yes.
just popped in my head. I
Yeah.
love Jones.
That
I was
was
a big
like-
skater, so like
Yeah, that was like the first like independent
yes,
soda.
and that was
Yeah.
like the big thing.
Oh,
Is like
okay.
we'd always get Jones sodas, and
Yeah.
they always had funny labels on
and
them
the
and stuff.
suspiciously blue, like neon blue
Yep.
soda. Like, wait a minute.
It's good
Well, there
stuff.
have been like some of the gross ones too that everybody would try to drink, or like the Thanksgiving dinner one or something.
What?
Oh,
Yeah, you
really?
guys did, you don't remember that?
no.
Oh, I don't remember
they
that.
had
That was a
Thanksgiving-
Jones one?
Yeah.
That's
And-
almost like a jelly
I
belly.
know they did have
flavor,
really
isn't it?
weird flavors though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there were some that were like supposed to be kind of gross. So like if you drunk it, you were really like hardcore.
You're
Oh,
hardcore.
I drunk
Yeah.
battery acid or whatever it was.
Actually, battery acid is a good name for it. Whether
That's awesome.
whether that exists or not, that needs to be a thing.
In high school, that was big, and then like the Sobe drinks were really
Sobe,
big.
oh, yeah.
That was huge. You know,
Yeah.
and you keep the little lids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. High school.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I'm so glad I'm not in high school anymore. So, well, that was a nice carbonated episode. Thank you guys. We talked about everything from bubbly to root beer to Jones Thanksgiving bubbly stuff. So, tell us your favorite random sodas. Maybe we'll like it, maybe we don't, but we're looking forward to hearing your opinions on that anyway. You can listen to all of our episodes, of course, at doublestuffpod.com. You can check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Double Stuff Podcast, and of course on Twitter at Double Stuff P, and that's the letter P.